Hi! Just before I start, I just want to show you something that I found just a second ago, which just seems quite cool, really. This is Google, standard Google. I'm using it in Chrome. I don't know if it works in other browsers yet or not. I haven't enabled anything. I haven't authorized use of my sound card or anything. Anyway, as you can see, there's this little microphone here. So what on earth would that do? Well, basically when I click it, I can actually say the word that I'm searching for. Let's just try that out. Dog training. And lo and behold, it's actually understood my English accent and it's come up, which I just think is amazing. Anyway, that neatly segues us into why we're here today, which is basically how we all make money on the internet. And you know that when you try and to make money using organic search, i.e. results that search engines like Bing and Yahoo and Ask and Google give us, we're at their kind of mercy for what they bring up. And we know that there are these kind of sites that always come up. So these are obviously the adverts, and these are adverts, and we can pay there, but obviously there's there's an auction kind of stroke ethos thing going on, where even if you pay Google to be in those top slots, you pay the stupid tax if they don't like what you're doing. Anyway, so we can pay for the adverts, but if we want these organic listings, then what else happens? Well, we can see straight away that there's generally always going to be what I call mafia sites. And I don't mean that they're part of an Italian family, although they may be. We'll have some 6-degree separation from one. But basically they're the results that always come up. And they always come up for a number of reasons. One, hopefully, is because they're good and it's the right thing for them to happen. But the main reason is that Google just trusts them, and that could either be because they've been there for a very long time, because they genuinely get a lot of traffic, or because people talk about them a lot. In other words, backlinks and that kind of stuff. So Caesar's Way, very big, site. It's probably deserves to be in that top slot. And these others, I don't actually know them. I'm not really in the dog training news, but anyway. But Wikipedia, almost hard not to get Wikipedia to come up these days. Okay, one of what I would call the mafia sites. And there may not be any others. Okay, there's no others in that particular set of results, but Wikipedia's there. Quite often we get, Amazon, eBay, About, CNN, whatever coming up. Basically these sites always keep coming up. The mafia. Now, what about if we knew what the top 1,000 sites were, and what if we could leverage that information to our own ends? Because basically, and let me change slide here. Wow, a haystack. Basically, we're just like little needles in a haystack. A big 9 billion or whatever page it is haystack. And we're a little needle. And, on a good day, Google will say, hey, you're a little needle, you're in a big haystack, you might have something interesting to say, let me send signposts to you and send some of the traffic I get over to you, because it's a nice day and I like you, and here we go. And that works for a little while, and that's great. And obviously if you can find the low-hanging needle in a haystack where the big boys aren't taking part, or Google thinks that what you're offering is more relevant for what the search is using, then you're in business. But of course, being Google, they can take the signpost down, and their ultimate goal seems to be to not have to put up quite so many signposts, and to just point it at the big boys, because they know that they've got it covered. And if they've got it covered, why would they give it to a small guy when they can give it to a big guy? Because the big guy is probably going to have more of a back scratching relationship with them in the future. So can we find this information, and what could we do with it if we had it? So this is the top 1,000 websites globally. The data is kind of sourced from a backdoor at Google, so it's kind of Google data, so it's the most reliable we've got. It was last done in July 2011. It may not be 100% accurate. There may be anomalies in it. It's obviously only from their perspective. They don't know about traffic that's coming from other means like non-organic or anything like that. But it's a pretty good indication, and obviously it's what Google kind of base what they do in organic search on. So yeah, you can probably find this list of 1,000 websites somewhere else. You can do whatever you want. But the other thing is that we've packaged it into something that gives you basically instant, real-time a way to kind of manipulate and search this data, which is a lot friendlier than sticking it in Excel or something like that. So that's basically the plan. So let me just show you what it looks like. It's not the prettiest app in the world, but there we go. So there are two things about this app. One of them is that we can search by a particular keyword, and I'll show you that in just a second. But the other thing is we've got these 4 bands, these 4 ranges. And what these 4 ranges do is that they split the data into areas, into regions. So as you can see, this is sites that get over, hang on, I need to read the dots here, 20 million unique visitors per month. So they get over 20 million unique visitors a month. This box here is the people who get between 10 million and 20 million visitors per month, etc. And then this one is the people who only get less than 7 million unique visitors per month. Poor people. The other thing we've got a real-time count box here, which shows you the way that it's kind of laid out. Now we can see that basically at the moment it's pretty well even for the settings we've got. You can change the settings here in these boxes here to get a different bias, but this seems to be the best workable set for what we've got at the moment. And then if we look at these boxes, we can see the top site here at the moment in the biggest traffic range is Facebook, and we can see they're number 1, and we can see the specifics that they actually get 88 million unique visitors per month. They reach basically over 51% of the global web audience as far as they've worked it out, and they also get some ridiculous number of page views, which is obviously the same person visiting multiple pages. And if we divided those, we'd see how many pages they looked at in their month. The other thing is they're categorized by what the site basically does, so we can see that this is in the social network category. They rank number 1, and the interesting thing is that they carry advertising. So knowing that they carry advertising, we could, if we wanted to, pay money and get an advert on there. Now I don't know if you realise the potential of that. I'm not saying that paying for advertising is a good idea, because it can get very expensive and you need to know what you're doing. But if this is a very popular site and they took advertising and their advertising was cheap, maybe it's something you should consider. The other thing is, if it's a top site and they're getting a lot of traffic, maybe you should know A, who they are, and B, what they're doing, and thirdly, you could leverage that by then not copying what they're doing, but being inspired by what they're doing, the topics they're covering, etc., and how people are interacting. You might see the comments people are leaving, which articles that they vote for the most, all that kind of stuff. But you need to know who they are in order to do that. So I mean, you probably think you know who they are at the moment, but maybe you don't, and probably not all 1,000 of them either. The other thing that's interesting from this set of data for me was, out of the top 1,000 is what do they do as a percentage? What are the top sites? And we can just look at the top 4 here, and we can see that the most popular one is a social network, so people hang about and talk and chat and find old friends, whatever. YouTube, so people definitely watching online videos, sharing videos. And then Yahoo. So Yahoo is basically a mixture of things. It's a web portal, it's a search engine, it's an email system. It might be anything else that they've got going, daily horoscopes or bookmarking, whatever other service Yahoo decide to do that day, for their users. But basically it's a kind of a utilities portal. It's not just a search engine. It's email and forums and whatever else they stick under the yahoo.com actual landing site. And same with live.com. Live.com is Microsoft's own version of that kind of portal idea. So we can see the top 4 uses of the web for people is interacting socially, watching videos, and then 2 particular portals where they get email and stuff like that. Now we're probably not going to launch an email service, but it's interesting that happens. And maybe you can think about that. Interesting that people use Facebook that much and want to socially interact. Now again, unlikely you can take market share away from Facebook in terms of social whatever, but obviously it shows that that's something that people want to do. And maybe you might set up a social network for a very small niche, and obviously we can see that we could probably be able to get at them via Facebook, because Facebook is the top site globally that happens to do social networking, and they take advertising. Obviously you can also join in for free, and join in forums and have a forum signature and post on people's walls and all that other good stuff. But basically if you want to, you could do advertising. But we know now that they're one of the top social networks that we could look at. Now the big question is who is the second and who is the third, and are their advertising rates cheaper? Can we get more of a presence on them? Can we do better than them for a particular niche? All these sort of questions come to mind when we do this. Same with video sharing. Again, we can see a lot of people go there. Again, you're not going to take market share away from YouTube, but maybe there's a niche video thing you can do. Now that that's the site, you can ride on the back of the most popular videos and stuff, and lo and behold, they take advertising. So you could advertise with them, or you could set up your own channel and whatever, promote it, and then take them off onto your own thing. But now we know it. But who's the second most popular video site? Who's the third most popular video site? Maybe they're cheaper at advertising. Maybe there's a better inroads to them. Unless you know who they are, how can you do that? So can you see the potential of this information? Sorry, that sounded very salesy, didn't it? But can you see the potential of this information? So let's just look at some other things. So is dog training a niche that is got mass appeal? Now I'm not saying whether it's a good niche or a bad niche. Does it have mass appeal? And no, it doesn't. Dog training does not come up when we filter it for any of those results. What about dog itself? Strangely, no, not in the top 1,000. What about cat? Yeah, well, there are some cat things, but they're not actually cats. They've just got cat in the name somewhere. There it is, education. But actual cat ones. Okay, maybe we'd think pet would be a good one. No, not something that is got mass appeal. Now, I'm not saying that makes it a good or a bad niche, but the top 1,000 sites are not about dogs and cats and pets. Maybe the sites cover that information, but they're not in the category of that, and they haven't got it in the domain name. And if you know a particular pet site, I'm not a particular pet guy, then you can type it in there and find out. So if we put in Walmart, there they are, Walmart down there. They're a department store, and we can see that they're 97th in the scheme of things. They get something like 34 million visitors, unique visitors a month. They reach 2% of the entire web, and they get that many views. And apparently they carry advertising, which is interesting. I don't know if that's their own or they actually carry other people's. But that's an interesting lead. We could check that out and see that. So again, I hope you can see the potential of this information. Now, I'm not freeze framing the video when I'm typing this stuff in. If you want to type in health, oops, sorry if I spell it right, you can see exactly what's going on with the health. We can see who the top site is, who the others are, and we can see the splitting here. There's one which is over 20 million, two that are between 10 and 20 million, 7 that are between 7 and 10 million, and one which is less than 7 million. Poor people. So that's how quick it is. Okay, the other thing is if we look at the top sites, they're actually in order of places. There's Baidu. It's the 8th site, most popular site in the world. Maybe you don't know what Baidu is. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. Let's have a look. Baidu is basically a Chinese search engine. If you look at your web logs, they'll tend to come along and suck endless amounts of data from your site for the Chinese market. Personally, I filter them out, but that's your choice. But we can see what's going on. That's what they do. Let's look at another site that we don't recognise. So QQ.com. I don't know what they do. If we look at the site, we can see it's Chinese again, and it's some kind of web portal. It's actually quite interesting. The pictures and the stories they carry, and the adverts they carry, and apparently Chinese ladies are into, people are into fashion and shoes and clothing and that kind of thing, and they've got a sale on at the moment, and they're the advertiser for the Japan market here is okbuy.com. So if we wanted to look at the Chinese market, we've got some leads going on straight away. I don't know what will happen if we let Google try and translate this page for us. Okay, and still can't quite navigate even in English, but anyway, they do they do internet celebrities. Yeah, it's some kind of portal, not exactly news portal, but interesting stuff portal of stuff going on, and we can see all the kind of things that they're interested in, and that's fantastic. Anyway, but that's that was the 8th most popular site on the web. We didn't know that before. Now we know that. We can go and check them out, see what's going on, see what the trends are, and and then we're just getting somewhere. Okay, so that's basically it. I've gone on a bit too long. You can see what happens. It gives you all the results there, gives you the detailed views there. It's very quick to find the things. You'll be surprised at some of the results that come up and the trends that are in there. And remember, this is basically about trends. It's about how many there are, what kind of market share they get. It's not about specifically necessarily who it is this month. I don't think it's going to change that much from month to month. But it gives us a good starting point for who the major players are. Then you can go and check them out and find out why, and then you can see if you can do anything with them. Like whether they actually accept, like PPC advertising or PPV advertising, or that kind of stuff. Obviously, if you're doing PPV campaigns, and the popular site is one that your target audience is going to, then obviously that's one URL that you could add to your PPV portfolio. So another great use for this. Anyway, that's basically it. As I say, you can probably find this information yourself somewhere else, but this gives you a very easy tool to manage it and to actually use the data and see what's going on, so you can actually predict the trends. Okay, that's it for now. Talk to you then. Bye for now.